So I have quite a quiet voice, so if you could come a bit closer just so you can all hear me. I just want to thank everyone for coming to today's ICT Show and Tell special. It's on the Single View project, and the reason why it's upstairs in ICT is just to kind of make the wider organisation and ITT group aware of what we're doing and what's going on. And there's a lot of reusable kind of components that you guys might want to take on board in future projects and existing projects, and there's also like other potential for other caseworkers and officers throughout the council that might be interested in interview as well. We have Tracy Fox on the line today, so she's also from an external organisation, and so Show and Tells are just one of our regular methods that we use during agile projects to keep everyone up to date and also provide an opportunity for people to give feedback on our projects. And these are our Hackney Manifesto principles that the Single View aligns to in terms of what we're doing with the Single View project. And Single View is actually part of a wider programme of works that's taking place for benefits and housing needs. And this is the overall vision of the programme of works. So it's all about to work together to design and build a benefits and housing needs service that we're proud of and confident in delivering. A service which is easily understood, fair, accessible and beneficial to our residents. Derek's going to share a bit about the problem that we're trying to solve.
So I'm a team manager, and one of the team manager roles in the Benefits and Housing Needs team is to respond to complaints. And complaints can come by many sources. They can be to do with housing and they can be to do with benefits. So we've got to look through quite a lot of systems. And unfortunately, some of the systems that we use have areas where you can duplicate data. So what we have to do when we look at a complaint, we've got to look through 7 systems, each in detail, before we can assess the whole picture, which takes a lot of time. We get a lot of complaints, so Single View is what is used to help us see everything in one place. I'll go further into that.
Okay, so we had this hypothesis that currently, by the way, I'm Clint Ashman, I'm the control team manager in Reds and Beds, I should say. But we had this hypothesis that currently for our staff, they were having to look in a lot of different places for information about the customers. That was really time consuming. But also, they were missing information as well. So, for example, if you're a housing needs officer, you might not have the expertise to know where to look in the academy to find out the story of that person's housing benefit. So our theory was that we could save some time by seeing that information in one place, but also we could get some improvements in quality by seeing the full picture of what was happening to the customer. The outcome of that would be less frustration for our staff, a better experience for our customers, and also us freeing up some time to work on those customers who are more vulnerable. So what is Single View? I'll be brief here because Kat's going to do a demo of Single View, but it's really just a way of gathering some of the information from all of those different systems and putting it in one place in a way that's really easy to understand. So first of all, it kind of gets around the issue of there not being kind of unique keys in all these unique keys in all these different systems by bringing together like matches from those systems and allowing the officer to say, yeah, okay, I know this person is kind of exists in these 4 systems and I'm going to join that record, and then they see this output here. And what they can see is kind of the key bits of data from the particular system that we're seeing here. They can see the addresses, for example, from some of those systems as well, and that can throw up inconsistencies across those systems which allows us to clean our data. They can see system IDs, so if they do need to dive into that system to get more detail, they've got the records, they can just go straight in. But probably kind of key element really, or the element which really is how most is this activity here, and that really is the story of the customer's interactions with us from all those systems in chronological order. So all of those systems have at least one place where you write down notes about your interactions with the customers. Several of them have 3 or 4 areas where you see notes. And this gathers all those in one place and it's chronological. Nearly all of those systems have outgoing documents that you can go gathers that shows where the document is, what the document is. In some cases you can just click on it and open up the document. Don't take my word for it, there's cat everywhere.
Right, so after seeing that brief description of what single view is, I'm going to actually show you how it works. So when you go to the single view, you're welcomed with this search page if you're logged in. If you weren't logged in, you would have to log in with your Google account, which is nice and easy. So what you do is you search for a person, and yep, let's do that. Search. Takes a while. It's gathering all of the info for everywhere. And you can see the screen. So this is your results screen, and you've got various outputs from different systems. It tells you which system it's from, and it is clickable. So you can select different customers that you think are the same, and connect them. A lot of connecting.
Here, because we don't have any unique IDs, you have to use your own discretion to sort of verify that yes, even though this person doesn't have, even though the IDs are not shared across systems, you can verify that the first name and the last name match along with their date of birth, and that's going to determine that they are indeed the same person.
Yeah, so for example in here, the date of birth doesn't match, so it doesn't allow you to click on it, it just grays it out, so you can't do that. And you can connect records. Anytime now. And this brings you to the screen that Glenn was talking about, so you can see all of the information on the left. You can see all of the known addresses, as well as system IDs from different systems. At the top here, you've got a quick access menu with various quick links that you can also view, and of course the activity. Yeah, so that is one of the customers, and then if you go back. It's going to save that customer as a connected record for everyone, so you can just keep on coming back to it. You can also view which records were connected. You can also disconnect them. Okay, let's look at another one. So this shows a bit more of the graying out, as you can see again, based on the date of birth. We'll also check for national insurance number, so if that's different, it wouldn't let you connect those two records. You can open the documents as well, or from the activity check. So, for example, open emails and like different various attachments. Where's the? Sorry, I had it written down. Here we go. So yeah, it opens PDFs as well. So yeah, that's a quick demo for that. Moving on.
Okay, so that's a quick demo of how it works. We've had that out there being used by various different people, and so this is some of the feedback we've had. So this one here is saving housing needs officer time and just giving a clearer picture of the client's situation. So that was quite an interesting one because of where our expectation was that, well, the customer isn't going to have to keep retelling their story. So, for example, if they're seeing a housing officer, they don't need to tell them their kind of benefits. What this housing needs officer found is that where she was seeing someone who was kind of quite elderly and vulnerable, that customer actually didn't really know their full story of their interaction with us. So going to single view really enabled to get a full picture, which really helped because if the customer was slightly confused about what their situation was. Where people were saving time, again, ease of locating information, kind of see it as well. And one of the most strong pieces of feedback we got within the first week or so of using it was one of the TA income officers said that in seeing information in single view, which they just would not have seen, they enabled them to prevent carrying out 2 or 3 evictions. One of the main visions for the overriding project is everything we do is about preventing homelessness. So that was a really powerful response we got. And there's also a big time saving as well as the improvement to customer service there, because evictions are extremely expensive. They come back through our door as a home to customers as well. So that was really great.
So Vince told you about some of the benefits to the customer. I want to sort of look at it from a different perspective, from a selfish perspective, in terms of time for officers. Just to, could you possibly put up the actual demo? Just to show you sort of, because to be honest with you, it's difficult to articulate the savings sort of thing. But if you could just scroll up a little bit. So a customer here comes in. We get a complaint about this customer. So. First of all, if you scroll up some more, you'll see here UHW. So UHW has a contact manager and a workflow manager. So information could be in either one of those systems. Where they're a PDF, in UH, a PDF comes as an individual page for each one. So, for example, housing register application is 16 pages. So I have to go into each page individually and scroll up and down each page, read each page before I can go to the next thing. So in here, when I click onto the document, it comes all as a single PDF and you can read it easily. So if you scroll up some more, so then this is probably not a good example because they're all UHW. So then you might have something in academy and so forth. So this saves a great deal of time, and you guys are the techie guys, so you know better than me. If I open up lots of systems in here, my VMware is going to slow down, it's going to crash. I'm going to get frustrated because it's crashing and I'm going to read a lot sort of thing. And we will convert to this single view. It saved a lot of time, a lot of stress. It's made our responses more holistic because we can see the whole picture in front of us, all in one page. And also, I don't know if you've ever experienced using UH. You go into a document and you click on it. It might open quickly, it might not, and then you find it's not the document that you want. Here I can look and see, this person's complained about this, okay, this mentions about this, I need to go into UH and look on the 10th of July 2019 rather than going through each page individually, which is what we normally have to do. big time saver, big time saver. I'm talking about the difference between maybe not even taking account of opening each system, which you normally would have to do. Now I don't have to do that. It saved me probably about half an hour just on the basic complaint. So from the personal point of view, it saves time. And you know, we're all busy, and this saves time. So that's it.
So the other really valuable point that I wanted to share with everyone is a point around information governance. So because it uses a lot of different systems, some people might be worried about are you allowed to share all this information. So we did a PIA and we worked with Nick to get it reviewed and signed off, and have 3 different asset owners that needed to approve our PIA for the system. So we worked together and we got all of those accepted and approved. And even though we're not manipulating the data through single view, we're just literally just displaying it, we also just needed to show that we were doing it on a lawful basis and the lawful grounds that we got our PIA approved. Good technical stuff. Does it work?
Well, I think this is kind of secondary to Derek's enthusiastic so we did some control test where we asked member staff to handle a complaint and tested it without single view and with. It saved 11.5 minutes. The really big one is for a housing needs and benefits officer going for a meeting with a customer coming into the service centre. It took them 2 minutes to prepare for that meeting versus 27 previously, which sort of speaks for itself. Lovely animation. Boom. And I think there are still, this was done at a time before the documents were embedded into the single view as well, so I'm still expecting to see things get better and better, particularly in relation to jobs where you would have to go through the documents more, so particularly around complaints. I think I expect that to improve. So onto the sort of techie side of this now. Nothing like a good network diagram. Me anyway. It's a relatively straightforward architecture. So we've got a single view UI, which is a React application on the front end. We've got APIs. So this is a service-specific API for the data from pulling data out of the underlying data sources. We have separated out the documents API because we kind of have a suspicion that that's going to be something that other things might be able to use, so we're trying to kind of keep that in mind when we're building this. It might not be the thing, but it might evolve into the thing, so we're trying to kind of not tightly couple these things together into a single block. So the way it works, single view UI makes a request to the API, pulls back all the data from here, and then if there's a document in the timeline, it will pull the document via this API, which goes to Camino and UHW to get metadata, and then there are these sort of mysterious things that we have to kind of hook at how they work, called image servers, which actually store the kind of raw documents. We then transform them into more sort of easily consumable documents like PDFs, attach them in S3 in the US, and send them back to the user. So it's quite tight, but it's a lot of functionality wrapped up in
So we set this all up using serverless, which is a really, really nice framework if you don't know much about DevOps. But the way it works is, in the simplest form is, we've got a code we push into Circle CI, and then we've got our easy deployment scripts where the front end, it just lives in an S3 bucket, so we don't really need to do much about it. Then if it's one of the APIs, what we do is we set up a serverless we run a serverless command that will then trigger off CloudFormation to create our API gateway and launch all of our API instances in a fleet of Lambdas, which is really great because we don't really need to care much about sort of the uptime of our application. They just work. And setting this up, I think the only sort of manual steps that we had to do is just set up the S3 bucket and put all of our parameters in the parameter store. But everything else is handled by serverless in a really, really nice, easy to read YAML file that is just easy to mess with.
It's been quite useful for building, sort of starting out as a prototype and evolving it out. It's been quite a useful way of sort of scaling gradually without having to deploy lots of services up front. And deploy has been
Also, it's very cheap.
yes.
It's cheaper than EC2.
I was just going to ask, as a sort of point of comparison, what's the difference in the run cost between, say, Manager Is and the single view?
I can do I did do a sort of calculation. This costs, from memory, something like $1 or $2 a month to run, and I think Manager Is was
It's quite a lot
in
of
the
pounds
hundreds.
these days.
Sorry?
That's quite a lot of
I
pounds.
know, yeah, it's probably getting worse.
Manager Is was a lot.
It gets more expensive over time.
And Manager Is
Manager Is quite a lot more, and that's partially because you have multiple environments all running the system, even if it's not being used. The nice thing about this being Lambda is pay as you go. You know, if the staging system's not being used, it doesn't do anything. So it's quite well suited to that multiple environment. So you could be quite profligate with your environments and spin up a new environment to test a particular branch, or because you're just deploying and then
That's
you're not
also-
running services.
That's also the same with the front end where it lives in S3, because you pay per request, whereas with Manager Is everything is just constant.
Oh shit, so the demo is quite expensive.
Not bad. But yeah, so learnings from keep doing UH docs. Found out that all the files are different, and that's sort of one of the main bugs that we are trying to iron out. There are various different versions of XML that come from DWP, which I assume are just kind of email notifications. I saw a couple of them of like, this person changed their address, here is some special XML.
I did a little bit of analysis to look at the file name, the file ending, and it's this incredibly long tail where you've got PDF, lots of PDFs, lots of JPEGs, a few Word documents, and it goes down until you get things like JPG1, JPG2, that are just arbitrary things that people have uploaded that are not really even real file names. So it's kind of slightly messy.
Also, we found out that, initially when we approached it, we thought, okay, so they must be where the Camino data is, somewhere there. Turns out that their documents are stored on image servers, which, quite surprisingly, the image servers are the same under the hood, which allows us to reuse our instance of the Documents API for both of them, which works nicely. Some of the files are really large, and we encountered some Lambda payload limitations where we couldn't return the full file for now.
That's why it goes into S3.
Yeah, it goes to S3 and then we return the signed S3 URL if the file is larger than 6 megabytes. And multiple customers can have multiple IDs in one system. So I could be in Universal Housing twice as myself with 2 different IDs, which provides issues for the whole of single view, but for documents it's especially difficult because like Ben mentioned, nothing is named correctly, nothing is related correctly, and now we've got 2 things that are basically the same related to one thing.
What's next for Single View? So we want to continue to onboard the rest of the benefits that Housing needs, and we want to think about implementing those sessions, because as you've seen, Single View is quite a really powerful device and it could be rolled out to numerous service areas, so I think it's a really good area for us to start thinking about. And also we want to refine the usability of Single View. So as I'll just mention, we've got some documents Camino displaying and some not displaying, and we just need to iron those bugs out so that all of our documents are displaying quite smoothly, because as Derek mentioned, it adds a lot of value and saves us a lot of time. So that's what we're going to do next in terms of Single View. And then I thought we'd just highlight some of the opportunities. So just speaking to various people amongst ICT and downstairs housing benefits across the road doing there's so many opportunities that Single View has. So we can extend the document API. In the next phase of Manager Is, we can think about displaying universal housing documents. We've got this API citizenship in next we could refine our searches so that we're actually getting the real opportunities like this. So I put world as like us. Any questions?
We thought about single view, making single view available to the customer.
That
A
is,
radical way of reducing asking consensus requests.
yes, it's a concept that's been passed around a few times. There's a sort of hesitancy to turn it into the Uber thing, but I think there's also a nice transparency kind of approach of saying these are all the things we hold on you. You can see as much as we can. If you want to add a document in that we can see as well, that's a nice way of doing it. So I think I'm quite interested in that as a future step, but we're trying to keep it quite tightly short.
I think one of the challenges that we face is that because it's an open system, we could overload with a lot of information, so we really need to be careful about what information we display, just so we just don't end up having another universal house with everything that's all clustered together.
And I've got a question with regard to the ones that are greyed out. So sometimes it greys them out, and in the example that you used, it greyed it out because the date of birth wasn't the same. But actually, the date of birth was only marginally different, which suggests that possibly that just could be an error. So is there an opportunity, but also we do know that at Hackney, a percentage of our data isn't the best. So is there an opportunity? I'm trying to be polite. Is there an opportunity that there could be like a flag button on there that just kind of says, I think this is wrong?
I actually suggested that when I was doing the testing.
Okay.
I believe it's an opportunity because we know the data that we've got is not the greatest, and it's an opportunity for us to identify the possible errors and for them to be potentially cleaned up, incrementally. Yeah. So I did suggest that.
So the approach we've been taking is, if an officer spots that something isn't able to be linked but wants it to be, they can see the reason for that and then go into the source system, fix the data, and then reload. Because it's live, it should then come back and be able to be linked. Okay. So it's not quite so explicit as I probably should be in terms of nudging people towards improving the data, but it does sort of nudge that way anyway.
I think the reason I raise that specifically is that for an officer to actually change that data can involve interactions with several other teams and seeking permission and so on. Yeah. So although the kind of ambition of just change it and make it right is good, the ability to actually do that may prevent it.
Yeah, exactly. And the example that we saw there, those records had already been kind of linked behind the scenes, probably from internal IDs, but then the system was not recognising that and greying it out. So I think there's probably some more intelligence we could apply.
And the second question I have is related to that, in that where things don't link up and match up, I think it's more the people side, and to think about the users, is how can we make sure that people don't become reliant on this as the only thing? So I guess it's really preventing laziness. So where an officer can see that something's greyed out that maybe shouldn't be greyed out, how can we make sure that user doesn't go, I can't be bothered to open UHW to dig deeper into that? And it's just, I suppose it's just around making sure that rather than having this thing where it does everything, it's not assuming that it does everything. And actually sometimes people need to dig deeper.
I think there's a risk of being spoiled, like you no longer want to interact with the kind of painful system, you're just going to do this, and so you don't.
Sure.
It's not the sole answer, though, sort of thing. It's just an overview of the case all in one place. It still involves interaction with those systems, but it just means that you can target specifically where you want to go rather than going through everything as we're currently having to do.
I mean, what I find particularly is particular groups will have a core system that they have to use to do their work, and where they really get a lot of benefits might be in those kind of other systems which they have to dip into quite a lot just to look at stuff, and where they haven't got the knowledge of where to look at stuff. So they're still at the moment to do those kind of core updates in their main system. So for a housing needs officer, but it means they can see the whole picture in those other systems.
Sure.
One of the frustrating things actually is that we haven't, because UH and other systems are all desktop based, you can't link to things, so it'd be really nice for them to link to the original record, but because they're desktop we can't do that, so that's something that
I was going to ask a question kind of related to that. So on the first example, there are about 10 different addresses for that person, and some of our records do not have date of birth or a national insurance number. So I was wondering how often officers know exactly kind of what they're looking for. Because that case, it looked like it would be really easy to just assume that that's the same person and not really know, and then you could be reading their case as if that's the same person and
I agree. I
getting
think that's
this information.
one of the features that's in the backlog is to have a kind of interface for previewing the records you're about to link. So if you do sort of link records that you're quite uncertain about, you can kind of go in, have a little look through and go, oh no, that's not the person, because I know they came in yesterday. They haven't had any interaction for 5 years, so something like that. So it's something that we've flagged.
Conversely, sometimes you can find, because the problem that I'm finding is on UHW you've got UHW contact manager and workflow, and for some strange reason sometimes you'll find records that are in one and not the other, or in both, and sometimes it's a flag. So when you get up a number of them, you link the ones that you know are obvious, date of birth, NI, and then the others you might link or check the system to see if it's the correct one, because it might have been and you might not be aware that it was, or it might not be, and then you can just dismiss it by disconnecting the record. So you know, just but to Ian's point, it's not the place where you go for everything. It gives you the overview, and it also gives you the opportunity to further investigate anomalies that don't quite make sense. If that makes sense. Yeah. So you know, that's how I use it.
Or maybe once it's linked as well, when you're looking through all the things, if you notice something within the linked record, it would be easy to unlink one part of it rather than having to unlink the whole thing and then put it together again.
David, did you have a...
Yeah, one of the pieces of information that's in Universal Housing at the moment is around cautionary contacts, so that officers know whether the person that they're going to be speaking to has had some issue with the council previously. I just wonder whether that's something you're planning to pull into the system.
It's not, but it probably should be.
Once the backlog.
No, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about warnings in terms of behaviour.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole. We were just talking about this morning. There's a whole kind of area in terms of picking up vulnerabilities, because that's something which is another work stream where we want to be able to assess customers' vulnerabilities and respond well to them, and at the same time as maybe picking up some of that vulnerability data. Looking to pick up some of the data you're talking about as well. So,
yeah, I think it would feed quite well into that vulnerability.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you all for coming.